And let the roll call show that all commissioners are present. And all the staff that need to be here. The agenda, we have. The action in the agenda.
I'll make the motion with the agenda.
Your motion, second, all in favor, say aye. Second. Opposed, that motion carries. Any public comment? No, sir. Anybody have any questions on any of the items on the consent agenda?
No.
Yeah,
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
we have a motion,
Second.
second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay, that carries. Staff submitted their reports. I didn't see anything, I had any questions about, here you guys.
I did not.
Oh.
It doesn't need action, so we're on to the regular agenda. Lead and copper sampling.
Scott, Christie, I actually have your names on this, if you want to just go through it real quick.
Do you want to start with?
Sure, for the new lead and copper sampling rules that have come out, we have to recertify our sample sites. A lot of it's changed since we took out all our galvanized lines last year, so we're kind of starting back over at zero on getting samples. It's something we've done for years. As far as the sampling, we're starting back over kind of from a fresh slate of recruiting new people to fit into the new criteria to qualify for what the Department of Health is looking for sampling sites.
Can we describe to them the sampling process, what the whole order?
Take it from make sure I get this all right, but kitchen tap is the most commonplace. After it sits overnight is the way they want is the first draw. So it's looking for kind of a catch-22 or what everybody's deal with it is it's almost more sampling the internal plumbing as much as it does our system. So once we get it out of the street, it's into their house. That's they're more worried about what's in the house to a point, but we have to do the sampling as far as just a liter draw. And then they pull that and set it on the doorstep. We drop them off. They take the sample the next day usually, then we pick them back up. So make it as painless on them as we can. And we're in a reduced sampling because we have had good results. So we're at 20 samples, I believe.
I think 20 to 25.
20 households.
Mhm.
It's for the whole town.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Check it randomly or?
that's what we're going through is they have a certain criteria. They've come up with a whole new formula and it's got, what is it, 84?
Yeah, so houses built between 84 and 85, no water softeners, no water filtration devices on the tap that they're testing. So there's certain things that the customer has to meet to qualify to be able to participate in the lead and copper sampling program. So we've whittled it down to households built between that time period, but there's still information we need from the customers as far as if there's a water softener, if they use a whole home filter, or even a filter on a specific tap. So that's part of what the lead and copper sampling program is part of is getting those households to participate. But even like Scott said, they drop off the bottles for them to test with and pick them up. So the homeowner literally just takes the bottle, fills it, puts it on the doorstep, and it's gone the next day.
They still have to opt in.
Yeah.
Well, they get like $5 too or something.
Yep.
That's what we're for.
So we'd like to offer them $5 off their water bill and then throw in some other little swag that we have in the office too for participating, because they do have to take time to call us. So we can ask, I think there's 3 questions that we have to ask them to make sure that they qualify to do the sampling. And then they still have to do the sampling itself, so.
It's usually, I've read there a few times now, it's kind of a pain in the butt, and some of them some are really good, you drop them off and you did it and they've maybe done it for quite a few years, but since we did the galvanized replacement, all them houses no longer qualify. So now we're starting with a whole new, essentially, group of people that are maybe a little unfamiliar with it from the ones that we had been sampling for years.
Yeah. Must be kind of, can't be that many households that qualify. It's a pretty small
No.
window.
And it keeps going in tiers, so that like tier one of the, you know, if you had lead service lines going into the house, or if you had lead plumbing in the house, them are like your number ones, that's your first tier. And then it's a kind of a checklist down to kind of a process of elimination. No matter what, we have to take so many samples. But as you keep getting to better plumbing systems, I guess you would say, and that's like newer houses, because some of it bounces back and forth. There's say the 1 year, or couple year span in there. My guess is it was lead solder is what they're looking for at that point, or the brass was a more lead or something to change there. And then you get, that's kind of our window that we're targeting, that's our highest risk, I guess you would say, homes are them ones. And then it starts going down to, I mean, if you keep striking out on that, or is it newer towns, or, you know, where everybody's bought newer areas, they may be into just any random house will qualify, because they're all the same. So,
we've identified 27 homes in town that would qualify as this tier one. We only need 20 or 21.
we need 20 sample bottles, but
20
it takes usually a couple, 3 extra qualified to get them ones done.
So with only having 27 total qualify for this tier one, we'd really like them all. So the thought was that a $5 credit on their bill for their water bill would entice people and help us out, so we could just get it done all in tier one and do the sampling and send it off and have a good result.
Getting you're looking at their welfare.
Yep. And that's part of it too, is that they also get a copy of the report. So they'll know what's in their water.
Cause now that we've done all the upgrades and hookups, we've eliminated a lot of potential,
Mhm.
you know, damage or
One of
concern.
the fails.
If it fails, we would go into, it's a kind of a big formula that they use. You get a couple bad ones or higher deal, we would go into right now we're in a reduced monitoring schedule. We would go into every year, every other year. And then it goes to like 30 or 40 samples. I don't know exact numbers for how it's tiered up, but you get into that. So means we've had good results over the years. We're in a reduced monitoring. If you fail one, then it's a public notice. I think it takes two out of the ones there, because they realize that some of it is house or how it got sampled, or if they happen to grab one off of the wrong spot and they had a faucet that hasn't been used forever, it's gonna be high. So that's kind of why this your normal point of use, that's kind of fresh water, I guess, in there. That's overnight sit, but
Bathroom sinks.
yeah, bathroom sinks, kitchen sinks, the outside hose bib is not a good spot, because it's sits in there for months at a time and can build up, so.
Pretty close.
Actually,
They can opt out too, and we just have to document that, and then we can move up to tier 2s or 3s, or wherever we need to go to fill our quota, that our number that we need, so. Unless people get into it.
Okay, the action will be to approve a one-time $5 credit on the customer's bill on completion of the, whatever, else make the motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any more questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next item is the municipal facilities space use assessment.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll take this one. Memorandum 25-19 in your packets is an RFP to do a joint municipal facilities space needs assessment with the city of Princeton. Michelle and I worked on this quite a bit to try to make sure it addressed all of our needs and help us try to get some ideas on ways to move forward for both of our administrative needs, as well as adding a component for field service needs with the utility. This proposal has already been approved by the city council, so if the commission approves it, we can go ahead and issue that RFP out. Michelle, did you already have a list together for like?
I do. I have about 6 or 7, maybe even 8 firms.
Okay, so we're hoping to get that out to quite a few and hopefully get a response and give us some expertise then. that I don't have, as we try to look at, workflows and, square footages and, all sorts of different things. So, we're looking for approval from the commission for the RFP. And if we get that, we'll be able to issue that to the service list, tomorrow or Friday.
And we'll post it to the league's website. They have a spot for a request for proposals too. The league's website.
Yeah, good to hear we're getting some, responses. So, I was wondering, we haven't really got that big of a, industry thing, and I don't know how to say it, but
I just did some Googling for architecture firms in the state. And
yeah, when we have to look at it. But all.
Has the city done this before? Haven't you?
probably when they did the public safety building
Way back.
in 2016. I've done, when I worked in Lex County and also when I worked in, actually, every place I worked, we've done remodeling of some sort, and so I haven't been specifically responsible for, but I've participated in a space needs analysis, or most municipal jurisdictions will hire an outside firm. Because, you can guess what size space somebody needs to work in, but there's ADA compliance requirements and a bunch of other stuff that needs to factor into the square footage, things like that. So, I haven't worked anywhere that remodeling has occurred where they haven't had a professional firm come in and interview people and look at current facilities, look at, tell you what the current code requirements are. They kind of get to know what the operations are, looking at what you want for public interaction. Our police chief has some opinions about safety for staff in terms of, people that might not be happy with us, and creating spaces where we can meet with people that doesn't put you in a place where you're basically boxed in. So there's all kinds of those kinds of factors that will be factored into where we end up.
And I can, relate to Michelle's county history there. I was on the county board at the time when we did a lot of, expansion up there, and it was, going to be pretty extensive stuff there. It was remodeling the old courthouse building, new and remodeling a couple of jail projects. So yeah, it's something that you don't want to just tackle internally.
And it really sets the foundation for your next phase. So this doesn't obligate us to do anything beyond this. It just tells us and informs us of what we need to be efficient, and you're also factoring in potential future staff additions. Like, for example, right now, while we have a consulting engineer, when she's in the city, she's officing out of a conference room. Well, now we're down a conference room. So, she really needs a dedicated cubicle, even though she's only here one day a week. And then we have summer interns and things like that too. So
They usually give you different options. I'm assuming
Correct.
that you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think if I remember right, this also includes, can we rehab something versus build new? There's always pitfalls for doing a rehab, and do we even have a building in town that we could rehab? No, there's just all sorts of things.
And then that definitely bringing in the outside is there's so much to it. It's having a third party that doesn't, they have a horse in the race, so to speak, or any preferences or whatever.
And Michelle and I are busy with our day jobs.
And we're also not architects and code analyzers, building code requirements.
Yeah. And the city did act on it, we're splitting the cost, I like the way that's done personally. I think that's a fair way to handle it. And I've already made this comment at the city side. You know, we have to keep statutorily, is that a word? We have to keep our separation. But there's always stuff that we can do together. And this may well be one of them. To save everybody a little bit of money, and also here. That's the goal. And I was pretty impressed with the way them two put this together. Also. Commend them for what they've done. There's a lot of work to do this part of it, so.
I make the motion.
Okay, we have the one motion. Approve the space needs RFP with city, okay? We have a motion. Second. We have a second. Is there any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Okay, the employee handbook.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll take this one as well. In your packets. Memorandum 25-20. Earlier this year, the commission approved us to work with HR Works to do a compliance check and overall review of the employee handbook. Rather than putting the whole version in the packets, I provided a summary sheet of the changes and recommendations just so you can see those basic form that addressed it. Feel that this brings us up to compliance in multiple areas. The only thing I would add to it is there are still some ongoing discussions with the legislature in relation to paid family medical leave. We have draft language ready, but if the legislature changes anything, that obviously would mean that it has to change. So we would just soon wait until after the legislature convenes to see what, if anything, has changed, and then just bring back that one section later this year for the commission to review. Otherwise, we're looking for approval of the 2025 employee handbook. Did you?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I did the one question I did speak with Keith about that earlier. Something with the employee benefit changes that are taking place, and we went through the 32. The employees have all been brought up to speed, and they're all on board with it, so that was my only thought in reading it. So,
Yes.
otherwise, but you guys have any other questions or?
No. I went through it as well. All seems fairly in line with our HR practice, so. Alrighty, move to approve these changes.
We have a motion. We have,
Motion in a second,
you moved, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion
and I'll second it.
and a second. Any further discussion? If none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Okay, I don't look at the record, but. If somebody has anything.
Set a record.
Yeah, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, the second to adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.